Hey, what is going on, guys? So today I thought I'd give you a different kind of video. I just did this, I just uploaded or made this video live. I did a review on this like sleep mask, and I just watched the whole entire video again, and it brought me back a lot of memories. I used to work for a multi-million-dollar stock day trader where we basically traded everything in the markets. We traded stocks, commodities, futures, bonds, even penny stocks. And the reason why this brought me back memories is because we used to work like in a garage in his guest house, and this guy was like awesome. Okay, this guy had like a photographic memory, but he was an idiot savant. If you guys don't know what an idiot savant is, it's somebody that doesn't know how to do basic things. Like this guy literally could not screw in a light bulb if his life depended on it. But he had a photographic memory. This guy knew how to trade the markets. This guy knew how to make money. I mean, a lot of freaking money. And he was actually a multi-millionaire several times over because he was like married like 5 times. He went through like 5 different divorces. He had a bunch of kids, and his wife took all his money like every single time until he got smart. And then he started branching out to putting his money in like Switzerland, Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands. Anyways, so this guy was a 65-year-old Jewish guy. He was 65 at the time. This was back during, I think, like 2007 or 2008, during the global economic collapse. And I was living in his, I was one of his head traders, so I lived in his guest house. And we worked in his garage, but his garage was like hooked up. Like he had monitors everywhere. We had screens all over. And every morning, I would be the first one in there, then the other trader would show up, and then he would always show up, and every single day was the same thing. He would always show up in his bathrobe, his hair sticking up, and he would have this sleep mask like on top of his head like this, and he always had a coffee in his right hand and raspberries, little fruits in his left hand. He always bring it into the garage, and then he would sit at his desk and start looking at the monitors. And this guy had a photographic memory where he can literally sit in front of like 4 monitors where there's hundreds and hundreds of stock symbols with prices, and he would know like what price is at where like every second. Like he just like looked at it and he would know if prices are going up, what it's at. Like he used to always test me like, Google, what's it at? And I have to like find like Google like, oh, 463.24. And every word out of this guy's mouth was a curse word. And he would be screaming all the time. And this guy was an awesome multitasker. Like he would be trading, with hundreds of different stock symbols. He would be on the phone, on speakerphone with his brokers in New York, because he traded old school. He didn't like buy and sell on the computer. He would still call his brokers up. And he also had on speakerphone his friends from like Egypt, Israel, Miami, New York, like guys that were all traders. And basically they would all do the same thing because they had a lot of money. And what happens is, if you guys trade the markets, if there's more volume that's buying and selling, the price is going to go up, right? So they would all do the same thing. And of course, I mean, there's always, if you guys are a trader, there's always days you're going to have down days. I mean, I remember there's days we were down like 20, 30, 40, $50,000. But again, there was days that we were up 20, 30, 80. I remember one day we were up like, it was his best one day trading, and it was like, he profited like 180,000 US dollars in one day. And this is during the beginning of the global economic collapse where we were basically smacking the entire market. Smacking as in like shorting the market, okay? So, if you guys buy a stock price here and it goes up and you sell it here, you make a profit. If you short a stock or the markets, you can sell it here, theoretically, and buy it back down here. So as the price goes down, you make money. So there was always screaming like, smack that, and F you, and calling me the B word. And this guy was so like out of his mind. Like I remember like he would be so glued to the screens, the monitors with all the prices moving down. He'd be listening to the news at the same time, listening to his friends, his like brokers, listening to us to give him suggestions like what's moving and take a look at this chart and stuff like that. And I remember a few times where he was so glued to the screen where he could not like leave the screen. He had to like use the bathroom. And a few times I remember like he would, and this is when there's like a lot of action going in the markets, he couldn't leave the seat, but he had so much coffee, like he had to pee. He would literally like look around and grab a cup, and I would see him like scooting in the desk, and he would literally pee in a cup, and he would still be like looking at us like in the eyes, cursing at us, talking to his friends, talking to his brokers, still listening what's going on. The guy was like literally crazy. There was a few times where he had to do a number 2. So he would get out of the garage and he would literally run to his house. And I remember always watching him like run. He would be running and he would have like, and imagine him, he's like a 65-year-old guy. He had like, he was half bald. He had like a little bit of hair like sticking up. He's running across his yard in his gown, and it's always like, it was like a cape, okay? And there was a few times where he went to do a number 2, and he would always bring his phone. And it was a few times, actually it was more than a few times, he would forget to bring his phone. And I would see his phone on his desk and him like running out the garage door, and I would be like, oh man, like any second he's gonna be screaming my name. As soon as he get to the bathroom, I hear like from his house, from the garage, like, Virgil! Virgil! He's like, you freaking idiot! I told you, I had to bring the phone! So I would like grab his phone and I would always like run to his house, go in the bathroom while he's literally sitting there all proud, taking a number 2, and he still have his gown on, still have his sleep mask on. And oh, there was another story, like I remember very, very vividly, but it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and typically we would go to this garage at 4 o'clock in the morning because we would trade the pre-market action. You guys know the New York Stock Exchange, the Dow Jones, NASDAQ. It opens at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. We're on California time, but there's pre-market action as well. So we would get in the garage super early. Like I would be one of the first ones in there, and I would put on some monitors and screens and try to listen to the analysts, you know, upgrades and downgrades. And then as soon as my boss walks in, I'll tell him like what's going on. JP Morgan did this, Merrill Lynch did this to this particular company, give him ideas what to buy and what to sell and stuff like that. So there was this one particular instance I remember. His keys used to be to the garage. It would be under the mat, and this time it wasn't there. So I was like, oh shoot! I was like, where's the keys at? It was like still pitch dark. So I'm like waiting around. The other traders like show up and stuff like that. So we're all out there like in the dark by his garage, and there's no keys or anything. So I remember him like walking out, you know, with the gown, the coffee, the raspberries. He's like walking out there, and he's like, what the hell are you guys doing out here? You bunch of stupid morons. Don't you know you're supposed to be in there? And we're like, yeah, but there's no keys. And he was like, he lifts up the mat and there's like no keys. He's like, that's stupid, blah, blah, blah. Apparently the lady that takes care of his horses didn't put the keys like back, like under the mat or something like that. So within a split second, and there's construction going on around his house too. There's like all kinds of bricks and stuff like that. He just right away, he picks up this huge freaking cinder block, and he's picking it up like this, like his back is about to break because he was an old guy. And I was thinking like, don't freaking do it. He literally picks up the entire cinder block, smashes it through this like double glass window like on his garage, and it like hits his desk, like monitors like knock over, there's like glass all over the place. And I remember after we went in there was still glass like everywhere. Like I was like, well, we were like putting the monitors back and everything like that, make sure everything is okay. And there's glass like everywhere. And he's sitting there like trading, talking to people as he's wiping down glass. He's sitting on like tons of glass like in his chair. Oh, this guy was like, actually it was a nightmare, but I learned a lot, you know, working for people that are like literally crazy and like money hungry. Like this is all this guy like thought about was like money, stocks, you know, the financial markets, economic markets, and women on the weekends. But I don't want to tell you guys that story because I know a lot of you guys are young folks out there watching my channel. So, I mean, I have so many stories. I mean, it was cool because I lived in the his guest house like in the back. So, and I mean, he was a multi-millionaire, but he didn't pay us like much. But at least I had a nice guest house in the back. It was a 2-bedroom. It was decked out. I had flat screens all over. I had a swimming pool like next to me in a guest house. I had a jacuzzi. And the area we lived in was like very, very prominent place area. It was a gated community in Los Angeles. Actually, it was a place called Calabasas. I mean, you had the Kardashians living there, Charlie Sheen, Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, a bunch of like celebrities like live in that area. Anyways, yeah, that was a hell of an experience for me. I think I worked for him for like 2 years, and he ended up moving to Florida, which he asked me to go with him, but I didn't want to drop everything in California and stuff like that. So, I mean, this is like 10 years ago or so. I think he's probably passed away. But if I mention his name, like a lot of you guys that are like stock traders and stuff like that, you'll probably His name will probably like ring a bell because he was in Barron's financial paper a couple times, and yeah, a lot of people knew who he was. So, anyways, I think that's. I drank like 2 cups of coffee today, so I'm kind of like making like this rant. I'll probably delete this video. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, bye.